In this video, I'm going to show you how to accurately cite a speaker when you want to use a quote or a paraphrase of some information from an article. So first of all, I'm using this article from the Globe and Mail. The URL is here, and the title is here, and the topic of the article is Canadian Student Stress. Okay, so in this article, I just want to scroll down and I want to show you some information that you might want to use in your essay. So let's look at this information here. This idea that students are struggling with many different issues. Some of it is health, some of it is relationships, some of it is academic and finances. But what's most surprising is the large number of students, 55%, who are actually juggling 3 or more of these issues at the same time, she said. All right, so that's pretty important information about this topic. What's really important is that we use quotations to show if we want to copy this exactly, or even if we're going to paraphrase it, we need to show accurately who said this and what makes them an expert. So here it says, she said. Well, who is she? So let's go back and search the quote. She is Teo. But what is Teo? Is that her last name? Is that her first name? What makes her an expert? So we have to search. Usually when we just have when somebody is just referred to as she, or if they're only referred to by one name, not their full name and title, the information was given earlier by the writer. So let's scan up. I don't see anything here other than she. There's Teo. Bingo. Okay, so here we have Dr. Sue-Ting Teo, Director of Student Health and Wellness at Toronto's Ryerson University, said some health issues students face are often overlooked. Fantastic. Now, we have the information that we need now. We have this speaker's full name. So her first name is Sue-Ting, her last name is Teo. Also, we have her title. She is a doctor, so I want to include all of that. We also have information that shows us what makes her an expert. Why is she an expert? Well, she's the Director of Student Health and Wellness. So she must know. Student of Health and Wellness where? Well, she works at Ryerson University. What's Ryerson University? Oh, it's a university in Toronto. So this gives all of the information now that we need to know that she is an expert on the topic of student stress in Canada. So when you quote or you paraphrase speakers from articles, make sure you identify their full name, their title if they have one, their job title if it's given, their location if it's given, their employer if it's given, and be aware that sometimes these things may not be given because somebody may be an expert for a different reason. For example, if you're writing an article about playing video games and you want to talk to a 10-year-old girl who plays Animal Crossing every day, is she an expert on that video game? Sure, she is. So in that case, you would want to give her full name with her parents' permission. You would want to say that she's 10 years old, and you would want to explain what makes her an expert. She plays Animal Crossing every day. Okay, so then you establish it. Okay, now some interesting things about the quotes from Dr. Teo. Look at this quote. So everything here in quotation marks, we can see there's quotation mark and then there's no space. We go right away to the word. Quotation mark and then the quote, and then look at the end of the quote. Then there's a comma and a quotation. Okay, the comma goes before the quotation mark. So she said exactly these words. Okay, these words, who said it? She said in an interview. Who said those words? Well, those words were added by the journalist, and they broke the sentence structure just to mix up the quote, just to make it a little bit more interesting to read. So here in quotations again, this is Dr. Teo continuing to speak. And you can see again, there's quotation and then the word for. There's no space between the quotation and for. And then at the end, there's a period, and then the quotation goes after the period. But there's something really interesting here. There's some words in brackets. And why are they in brackets? Because Dr. Teo did not say these words. The journalist added them to make Dr. Teo's meaning more clear. So if a writer does anything to add information to a person's quote, they need to show that they added it. In this previous sentence, the journalist did nothing to change or add anything to the quote. I would actually recommend that you don't add anything to people's quotes. It's better for you just to quote exactly what they say. And don't change grammar, don't change words inside the quotation marks. Nothing should change. We can see again that the journalist added something again later. We see 55% is in brackets. Why did the journalist add that information? Because Dr. Teo was talking about the large number of students, and the reader might say, well, how many is a large number? And so the journalist is explaining, in the survey it said 55%. That's what Dr. Teo means when she says a large number of students. So in that case, the journalist is trying to help us to make something more clear. Now look at the next example. Here, we have a quote. There are no brackets here, so the journalist did not add anything at all. However, in the middle of the quote, you can see ... This is called ellipsis. And what is this ellipsis? This tells me that Dr. Teo said more things between these two sentences, but the journalist cut those sentences out. Why? Probably because the journalist just wanted to focus on the key points, and maybe the things that the doctor said in between were not as essential, and the writer is trying to keep things as short and sweet as possible. So if you remove anything from a quote, please use ellipsis, please use ... to show where you remove the information. Okay, so I hope you have all the information that you need now to do your detective work and to clearly show the full name of a speaker, the reason for their expertise, potentially their location, maybe their employer, maybe their job title, and how to show if you've added any information, how to show if you've removed any information, and how to show if you are quoting exactly the words that the original speaker said without changing anything. Good luck.